Dear fans, no, scratch the former fans.
Dear so-called fans of Pulp Fantasy.
Mm-hmm. You have cheated on us with another podcast. This infidelity will not go unanswered.
We are so mad.
Yes.
We are irate, we are furious, and we never want to see you again. Don't even bother coming to us with an explanation like, oh, I'm on vacation. You've promised us.
Mm-hmm.
You promised us this, that you would listen to our podcast, and here you go, flitting off with some other fucking skank.
Those Kelsey brothers have nothing on us.
Those fucking Kelsey brothers, they make me sick.
It's not even a podcast when they do it. It's video. That's video format.
They do video. Imagine if we did video.
Outrageous.
Couldn't be us.
No.
Couldn't be us. We're grassroots.
Yeah.
We're for the fucking people. Yeah. And you want to run off with these big dick podcast brothers like oh, it's going to make your life so much better. Well, fuck you.
Screw you.
Hold on. I'm getting a call.
Oh.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, no problem. Yeah, okay. So, bad news.
Oh, no, what happened?
Might have been a little bit of a false alarm.
Oh, my God.
We are going to have to chase that intro down before it gets out to the people.
Oh, my God. Oh, no.
We've already shipped it through Federal Express.
Yep.
And we only have 10 hours to get it.
Oh,
Welcome back to Pulp Fantasy.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here. You're not skanks.
No.
And we love to have you. And you can listen to those fucking Kelsey brothers if you really want to.
For more than 100 years, the world has been fascinated by the movies. The movies.
This is a podcast where we look at the history of movies and ask the most important question, who's winning? I'm Rochelle, Rachel if you're nasty.
And I'm Ruth.
And this is our rom-com episode of our Rudd Dud Redemption miniseries.
Yes, we've watched a number of rom-coms before now, and we'll watch more later in the season. But this was a real concentrated little bundle.
This is sort of the centerpiece of our of this series in many ways, because I feel like if you ask people what kind of a movie star is Paul Rudd, they'll say, he's a rom-com guy. He's like the affable, lovable, kind of goofy, love interest kind of guy. But then I feel like if you ask people to name rom-coms that Paul Rudd is in,
yeah,
people come up short. They'd be like, well, he's in Knocked Up, and he's
in Clueless.
Clueless. Wanderlust, like they run out pretty quickly.
Yeah, he's in that season of Parks and Rec. End of list.
And yeah, I think this batch of movies is insane.
It's brutal. It's utterly brutal.
I'm willing to say that all 5 of these movies are insane.
Yeah.
All rom-coms are insane, kind of, but this is perhaps the craziest batch of movies that's ever been covered in a single podcast episode.
Definitely. I started with what I think is the worst of the bunch, which we'll get into. And then I kept seeing your 1-star reviews on Letterboxd come in, and I was just like, do I really have to watch 4 more of these films? And then I was delightfully surprised that I enjoyed a number of them quite a bit.
Yeah. It's been really hard to watch normal movies while watching these.
Yeah.
I watched the last 2 that we're going to be talking about, How Do You Know and I Can Never Be Your Woman, in a span of 24 hours.
Woof.
And I haven't watched a normal movie since then, but I feel like it's gonna take some getting used to.
Yeah, you need a real detox, a real reset.
Yeah.
Speaking of other movies, have you
mhm.
seen anything else good recently? Or has it just been Paul Rudd rom-coms?
I've seen a couple good things. I saw Begonia recently.
Yes. What was
A
that?
movie I liked a lot.
How was it?
It's yeah, it's very dark, very funny, really good cast. It's polarizing, and I understand why, because it you know, sets up this. The idea is that they kidnap this woman, and they think that she's an alien, and it ultimately, you know, makes some strong choices in the third act that you know, leave little room for ambiguity. But personally, I thought the ending was very funny. I think it's a really interesting. It's a very transsexual movie.
Love it. Love it.
It's these two guys. They like inject progesterone to like chemically castrate themselves, so that they don't have sexual urges towards the Emma Stone character. And there's a lot written into like the way they treat the Emma Stone character that feels very like, you know, Jesse Plemons points out like her slight overbite and her like thick hair as like all these little transvestigating things as reasons that she's an alien. They shave her head. They call her it. They have her wear his mother's clothes.
There's a lot there.
There's a lot there. And in classic Yorgos fashion. But I also saw It Was Just an Accident, which is another movie about a kidnapping gone wrong, and I thought that was an interesting kind of double feature there. Another movie that's very good, much more serious, but still kind of madcap movie. It's really fun how they like, you know, because the premise is this guy thinks he found the guy who tortured him in prison, but then he has a doubt. And so he's like going around finding other people who were tortured by this guy and trying to get one of them to confirm whether or not it's the guy. And so he ends up in this big van. He's got like a bride and groom, a photographer, like this really fun batch of characters, all, you know, driving around Tehran trying to figure out what the deal is with this guy. And I enjoyed that movie a lot too. We both have seen Frankenstein, yes?
Yes. I was going to say, the only reason I know about It Was Just an Accident, the only reason I know about that is because there was an ad before Frankenstein for it, and I was like, this looks very interesting. But yes, I saw that was my Halloween night. After working all day, I went and I saw Frankenstein on the big screen. A delightful way to spend my Halloween. And I think I texted you this after I saw it. One of the things that stood out to me the most was how Guillermo del Toro it was. Like there is, you can feel him and his influence and his art in every single nook and cranny of the entire film in a way that is just, it's just delicious. It's the people that I know who have loved it the most so far are the people who are like really diehard Del Toro fans. And I think it's one of those passion projects where it's like, it's sort of, it doesn't even really need to speak to a greater audience. It does and it will, but like it's this little passion ball of like practical and cool and Del Toro, and it's so fun.
It's very Del Toro. There are scenes that look like they could have been shot at his house.
Yeah.
There's
Yes.
I saw a fun interview with Oscar Isaac where he was talking about how him and Del Toro would only talk to each other in Spanish on set, which is a lot of fun. I feel like, having seen it a couple weeks ago now, the thing that I keep coming back to is that Jacob Elordi performance as Frankenstein. It's such, as the creature, it's such... but he is a Frankenstein at the end of the day. And it's such a crazy physical performance. It's he does such a good job of like, you know, embodying like the way that he fights and like fends people off is so like animalistic and kind of like uncoordinated in a really cool way. He makes you feel like he is like a cute animal being tortured. It's the way he progresses, you know, into the back half of the movie is also so cool to see. and it's a really it's a performance I'm going to be thinking about for a long time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And like Oscar Isaac is hamming it up, chewing the furniture, doing such a fun job in a role that, you know, everyone sort of has a vision of, both Victor Frankenstein and the creature. Like everyone has sort of a vision of what that looks like. And they both bring their own spins to it in a way that it feels very unique, and it feels very its own, and not necessarily, it never lets itself get tied down by all the weight of like the expectation around this story. It really starts from the book and then just tells the story that it wants to tell.
And I like the ways that it adapts the book. I like the ways that it changes the book. It strikes a really interesting balance where like it is kind of the most faithful adaptation of Frankenstein the book, but it also makes some really significant changes that, you know, feel like it creates the form of a Del Toro movie. It creates a more cinematic form by having like this is part 1, this is part 2 kind of thing going on. And I'm glad it exists. I'm glad it finally came out. I am so glad I got to see it on the big screen, because it's such a big movie visually, and having a receptive audience that was just eating out of Jacob Elordi's hand the whole time, like really added to the overall experience of the film. And I hope it gets more theatrical release at some point, maybe. Like I'm sure it'll be up for like an Oscar at least. Yeah. It's sticking around longer than any other Netflix movie has in theaters.
Yeah, thank God.
It's still going to be in theaters next week. I think maybe even the week after that. It does seem like Netflix, especially after the success of like the K-pop Demon Hunters post Netflix theatrical runs, it seems like they're kind of, you know, they've always been allergic to theaters because it's kind of the principle of their model.
Yeah.
But it definitely feels like in the past, like they put in a bid for Warner Brothers, and they said, you know, obviously we're going to do theatrical for Warner Brothers movies, but they, you know, if that deal doesn't happen, and I don't think it will, they are still kind of looking at it like we're gonna have to put these things in theaters.
Yeah, their format is falling apart underneath them, so why not change it up and do the thing that has been done for 100 years?
Yeah, it is kind of funny to imagine Netflix kind of becoming like just a picture house, just like a just an old school film studio, you know, like just I just picture like the Netflix lot, and it's like you know Roman soldiers walking around the set, and
it's
like Hail Caesar stuff, just
and like and it's like some
Wednesday,
leftover,
It's funny. They're opening a Netflix house, the Netflix live attraction thing at King of Prussia, not far from here, and they did a little pop-up in Center City. And so there's a lot of like Netflix advertising around right now.
There's a Broadway show of Stranger Things on right now, and
strange.
Yes, and it's one of those things where like there's the last season of that is coming out soon, right? Or it's out. I don't. It's like I thought Stranger Things ended. I thought everyone gave up and didn't give a shit anymore, but they just keep milking that product.
Yeah. The last season is coming out at the end of this year, and then of course there's the Broadway show, and of course they're going to do an animated series, and they're going to, do whatever they can with it. It's like how Squid Game is now like a reality show, and they're doing an English version, and they're still doing the Korean version.
And you can get it.
And maybe they'll do a movie. I don't know.
The Squid Game as a whole. There's a whole entire season of a podcast talking about Squid Game. And the effect that it has had, but that's not this podcast.
That's not this podcast. This podcast is about Rudd Duds.
This podcast is about Paul Rudd movies that failed to make money.
The one other movie that I've seen since we last talked that I do want to shout out is Springsteen Deliver Me From Nowhere.
Oh, please tell me. Tell me.
A truly terrible piece of media.
Jeremy Strong can't even save it.
Jeremy Strong I liked a lot. I know people who thought that Jeremy Strong was doing too much stuff, but I like when a supporting guy like Jeremy Strong is doing a lot of stuff. The problem for me is that Jeremy Allen White is playing Bruce Springsteen and doing just as much stuff.
Yeah.
Like, he's doing a crazy voice, and it's like, this is supposed to be Bruce Springsteen. Like, he's not a cartoon character, you know?
Yeah, this isn't Elvis. Wake up.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it's trying to be Elvis in certain moments, but with no like style. There is a brief shot of Bruce Springsteen playing guitar in Hell that was probably the highlight of it for me. But there's really not a lot of stuff like that. I don't want to act like that.
Yeah.
That's sort of it's really bad. There's a lot of scenes of Bruce like, you know, he's writing in his notes and he's like, he writes double album ? And he like he writes the lyrics to the song and then he changes the hymns to me's.
Yeah.
There's a scene of him like seeing Badlands on TV and then going to the library next day to look into it, and then he writes the song like that. It's very paint by numbers, very weird. just a strange experience in the theater, for anyone who wants to have it. Yeah.
I feel like I heard no one else talking about it either. Even all my like Springsteen obsessed mutuals on Tumblr just like don't give a shit.
It's really bad. The Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan movie last year, it was a movie I also didn't like, but the story of Dylan going electric is one that has like an interesting behind the scenes side to it. This Springsteen movie, the whole movie, it's so bizarre. The whole movie is Springsteen being like, we got to do it this way. We got to make it raw. It's got to have like an echo, and we got to make it sound like the tape. And everyone's just like, yeah, okay. He gets no pushback from anybody in the whole movie. It's just a bunch of scenes of like, you know, and Mark Maron's there and he's going to roll his eyes a little bit. And Jeremy Strong's going to be like, well, we got to do it. And then they just do it.
Damn. The best Bruce Springsteen movie is or at least the best, most recent Bruce Springsteen movie is that Blinded by the Light movie about the kid.
I never saw that, but it looked cute.
It was really cute. I did see it on a date, and so it's sort of like forever like in my brain associated with this one person I went on like a date and a half with. It's 5 years ago, but it was very sweet and cute, and it had really good Bruce Springsteen in it, and it was certainly a more interesting movie than just like another biopic.
I was intrigued by that movie, but I feel like it never like really came out around me.
Yeah.
So let's get into these films, because we've got 5 movies to talk about today, and there's much to say about each of them.
So much to say.
The first movie we've got is Overnight Delivery.
Yes. Which was a delight, an absolute hoot. I had a great time.
Really enjoyed Overnight Delivery.
It was great, especially compared to like
very good.
Yeah, it had like a lot of these movies had crazy casts. People just kept showing up, and I was like, huh? Yeah. And this one, including with, you know, Tobin Bell was of course a delight as another serial killer.
Tobin Bell as a serial killer.
What? And Sarah Silverman, and it was like, what, huh? How have I never heard of this movie before? And then it's like, oh, it was a direct to VHS probably release in 1998.
Yeah. So the story behind this movie is that it was written by Neil Sedaka's son, Mark Sedaka.
Oh, and
it was optioned by Caravan Pictures, which is a mid-budget label from Disney. They did like Heavyweights, Angels in the Outfield, that kind of thing. They had Steve Bloom come in to work on the script. He did like James the Giant Peach, Jack Frost. He was, you know, more in that like kind of family movie bag. This was the second film directed by Jason Blum, whose first film was Biodome.
Yes. Yes. And I was seeing on Wikipedia that at one point Kevin Smith was brought in to do a like uncredited rewrite.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that Kevin Smith describes his work as an uncredited rewrite. And there's this whole thing where Joey Lorden-Adams was going to be the lead, and then she ends up doing Chasing Amy instead. But the thing is, he described his work as a simple rewrite, but according to the Minnesota Star Tribune, he was, during production, the credited screenwriter.
I was going to say, it feels like a Kevin Smith movie. It feels much more like a Kevin Smith movie than I don't even know. Like, yeah.
Yeah, he basically says that they only kept like a couple lines in the opening scene, but like part of the story that they ran about how this movie became such a disaster is that he was, as far as everyone knew, the screenwriter, and he was never there on set.
This I feel like makes a lot of things make a lot of sense. A lot of stuff is clicking because there's a lot of Kevin Smith in the movie, but if he was not there and sort of abandoned the project, then yeah, they're going to slap the names of some people who get like the red text for not existing on Wikipedia on it,
Yeah. But the thing with this movie is like it had, a decent budget. It had like a $10 million budget. It had Reese Witherspoon and Paul Rudd, who were both like up and coming stars. It had solid test screenings. Like when it went straight to video, many of the people who worked on it were surprised. And there's an element of mystery to it because like the head of New Line has no comment on why it went straight to video. Jason Blum, the director, said, "I love the film and I hope people see it, but I don't want to talk about it for print." Like, there's some kind of mysterious like what went wrong story here, and it's not the only movie we're talking about today that went straight to video.
Oh, absolutely not.
It's a very bizarre case.
So there's even more to it than I realized, and all of that on top of just having seen the movie, which is so bizarre. But okay. What happens in this movie?
So the story of Overnight Delivery is that Paul Rudd plays a guy named Trips, who has a girlfriend who he loves very much, played by, I believe, Christine Taylor. And he comes to believe that his girlfriend is cheating on him with a guy named The Ricker, which reminded me of the Dick Ricker account in They Came Together.
I had a couple It's All Connected moments in here. I've got some notes. Things that are going to come up.
It's the tagline of this podcast. It all comes together.
Yeah.
And so he, at the egging on of a, I guess she's just a stripper. She's played by Reese Witherspoon with raven hair, a very nice look for her, and she's a stripper or sex worker or whatever, and she
is another student at the campus. Like there's a whole thing about her having a relationship with one of the professors.
With a professor,
which Paul Rudd is very against. Which hilarious. It's all connected. We'll get back to that.
Yeah, they leave her. They write her a letter.
Yeah, the girlfriend.
They write her. They write her a nasty letter, and they include what appears to be a used condom and a naked picture of Reese Witherspoon, and they send it off. And then in the morning, he gets the call back from his girlfriend. Turns out it was all a misunderstanding. The Ricker is a dog. And so the two of them, Paul Rudd and Reese Witherspoon, have to travel across the country trying to stop this letter from reaching its destination. And there is a very determined postal worker played by Larry Drake, who will do anything to get this letter to its destination.
And all kinds of mishaps happen along the way. This was a good old-fashioned road trip movie.
It's a lot of fun. There's some good like stunts.
There's
like
great
when
stunts.
when the mail truck blows up, that's a really cool scene. And then when he drives away in the truck that's on fire.
Yeah. There's a great bit where Paul Rudd is like hanging, or where a man in a wig pretending to be Paul Rudd is hanging out of the back of the truck while Reese Witherspoon's driving up in her little purple Jeep to try and like save him. And it's like pretty good, like on road. It doesn't seem like it's, because sometimes when a movie's this budget range, the car chases will look really slow, but it's like, no, that's a pretty good car chase. They blocked off a section of highway for that.
Larry Drake is so funny
So
as
good.
the delivery driver.
I was trying to figure out where I knew him from, and his voice has a very Wallace Shawn quality to it. So I was like, oh, is he like, what did he voice act? And he did do a character in Johnny Bravo, but he's the villain from Darkman. And as soon as
Darkman,
I made that connection, I was like, oh, this is where I know you from.
Yeah, he's just it's a really funny setup where they're like, where, you know, they go to the post office and Sarah Silverman happens to be working there, and she gets in their way, and they're like, okay, so we'll just like give the mail guy a 20 to give us a letter, whatever. And then this guy, it's his first day, he is so determined to get this, and he assumes that it's a test. He's like, you guys are testing me, and I can't give you that letter. And then like you said, that car chase where he's like, you know, in the van jumping into the car, like there's a series of shenanigans with them trying to get the letter from the van.
Yeah. There's some like Raiders of the Lost Ark shit happening. Paul Rudd's being dragged along the ground while there's like a fire extinguisher going off. The postal character, the guy reminds me of almost a like the sheriff in Smokey and the Bandit level of like, I must do my job. It's personal now.
There are some Smokey and the Bandit kind of characteristics of this movie. It has that like fun car vibe. So one of their plans is, you know, you're gonna fly there to where your girlfriend lives, and then you're just gonna catch it in the morning, you know, before it gets dropped off. And he ends up sitting on the plane he ends up getting like a first class ticket, and you know, all the you know, they give him a hard time, whatever. He ends up sitting next to Tobin Bell.
Tobin Bell, a wonderful Tobin Bell. Few people can play a serial killer like Tobin Bell. This serial killer is of course named Killer Bees, which is also great.
Killer Bees.
Yeah.
Beasley. I loved the Reese Witherspoon line where he's like, "It's way too cold for killer bees. They need warm climates to survive."
Yeah. She had some great lines. There's some great back and forth in this movie. It's really like a movie that is full of all kinds of stuff, and so it needs to sort of be carried on two leads that can hold it down, and they hold it down pretty good.
Something that I really came to appreciate about Paul Rudd in watching these movies is that he will become the type of guy that the director needs him to be. You know, he's in a James L. Brooks movie, he's a James L. Brooks guy. He's in an Amy Heckerling movie, he's an Amy Heckerling guy. He's in a movie from the Biodome and he's a Biodome type of guy.
Yeah.
He has a lot of really great physicality in this movie.
Yes.
Great outfits, of course.
Yes. There's between this and I Could Never Be Your Woman, we get two different amazing Paul Rudd dance numbers where his whole body going for it with a level of physicality that you don't see. Like, a goofy dance number is never done to that level, and I applaud him. They're both excellent.
And there's you know, at a certain point in this movie, his clothes get kind of torn to pieces. And so he has to borrow Reese Witherspoon's clothes for a lot of the movie. Yeah. And he completely rocks it. He just looks great.
Yeah. Yeah. He's wearing a baby on board shirt, like a pregnancy shirt for a large chunk of the movie as well. Rocking that.
Yeah.
There's some great one-liners in this. The two that I wrote down that I loved were right when Reese Witherspoon is like convincing Paul Rudd to write the letter. And he just goes, "To the computer cluster." And then it cuts to them in the library after dark, typing it out on the little computer.
Really good. Another line from that scene when they're writing the letter, and he's like, "What if I told her she wasn't very nurturing?"
And Reese Witherspoon's like, "Screw this. Talk about her cellulite."
Yeah.
No, when he's getting off the plane and he's being held hostage by Tobin Bell, and the cops are like, "Don't shoot yet. We can't kill the hostage." And the one cop goes, "He's just an undergrad, sir." Everyone goes, "Nevertheless, we can't kill him."
They're having an argument at one point, and I don't remember the context, but the way that Paul Rudd is like, I'd go for Seafoam. I'd opt for Seafoam.
Yeah.
So funny.
And they're the like vocal, physical, the combination of what's going on in Paul Rudd's performance, where there's some moment where he's just like screaming. He just has like this like this expression of like total pain, and he's just screaming and like running around full speed, and just putting himself in every element of this moment. It's so fun.
It almost really makes me want to see Paul Rudd like do this kind of stuff more.
Yeah.
Like he's become like, you know, a like handsome leading man kind of guy, and he's great in that role, but like when he really like gets crazy with it, like he does in this, like he's electric.
Yeah. Where's his Charlie Chaplin movie?
Yeah, and going back to the stunt thing, you know, as you might expect, things get right down to the wire at the end of the movie, and he has to actually go to the college where everyone's getting their Valentine's letters and intercept it there, and he has to swing across like a courtyard, like you know, 6 stories in the air or whatever, and he crashes through the window into his girlfriend's room, and he makes this big romantic gesture, and then he's like, "I'm breaking up with you." But it's such a it's another great stunt. It's another like oh shit.
They actually went there.
It's great. Yeah.
I forget what the line he says right before he does the jump is, but it's really he goes like, he's like, "I swear to God, I'll never send anything for overnight delivery again." And you're like, "Oh, that's the title of the movie." And then he like jumps.
Overnight delivery. Yeah, it works out really nicely. There's all kinds of stuff when they get to the college, and he's like, he thinks he sees the male guy, but all the male guys are there because it's Valentine's Day, and they're all so it's like the wrong guy, and he's, you know, it's really good.
Yeah, it's funny that because the whole point is that they're going from Minnesota to Memphis is like this road trip, but they filmed the entire thing in Minnesota. Like a random Minnesota university that's being the University of Memphis, and like over the movie we slowly see them like lose layers of clothing because it's in theory getting warmer, but it's not. They're just filming in a different part of Minnesota.
Yeah, I think like a lot of the movies we're looking at this week are like this episode are like very specific to a location.
Yes. Yeah.
And it becomes really interesting. This one was indeed shot in Twin Cities, which is why the Star Tribune was like, why isn't it getting released?
Yeah. It works well as it feels very settled in place. It's not as focused on the place as some of the other movies we're going to talk about, but the place gives a real flavor to the movie. Like, this is a very Midwest movie. Every step of the way, I'm like, oh, this is the Midwest, and it adds a very nice flavor that is a little unique and gives it sort of a little twist on that late '90s rom-com feel that it's otherwise going for.
There's another part where, and I'm just remembering this, but the part where he goes to the airport and like he's being offered a free flight for being the hostage and helping catch killer bees, but he gets there and the guy's like, "Yeah, I'm sure you're Trips and not these 26 other guys who have showed up and said they were Trips."
Yeah, he like leaves the line, and then the next guy behind him is like, "Hi, I'm Wyatt Tripp."
Like, of course, if you announce on the news that Wyatt Tripp gets a free flight anywhere.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of great, like, chase movie moments where it's like they almost have it, and then
And you never know what's gonna come. Like it's one of those movies where there's a whole bit where the mailman is in a diner trying to get dinner, and the food comes out, and he's like, "This is cold," and the waitress is like, "It's steaming," and he's like, "It's steaming from cold," and then he goes and like harasses the chef behind the scene.
It's cold steam.
Yeah. And all of this is sort of leading to his truck getting blown up.
Yeah.
And none of that is anything I could have predicted. Maybe I could have predicted the truck getting destroyed. That's like very classic road trip chase movie stuff, but it just took turns, but never felt out of step with what the movie was trying to do.
And again, he ends up driving off in the destroyed truck while it's still on fire.
He has Paul Rudd's letter in his hand, and he's like, "You can't stop me."
Just the one letter. It's all he cares about.
It's his whole job.
Yeah. There have been other movies that we've watched in this series that we have, recommended. Overnight Delivery is a gem.
Yes.
Overnight Delivery is one you're going to want to watch.
Yeah. Certainly of this batch, Overnight Delivery is the one that I would most rewatch and the one I would most likely be like, "You looking for a movie? Try this."
Yeah. The next movie is The O in Ohio.
Now, this movie is crazy, and I'm going to be honest.
This movie is crazy!
I kind of loved it. I sort of loved this bonkers-ass movie. Like, it's not good, but it's also... I laughed out loud more than once. I thought that Parker Posey is doing amazing. I thought she did so good as this like very specific, hard to do, weird little role. And it just like it was a movie that by the end I was like, that was cute. That was really sweet and kind of funny and also crazy. Like nothing else I've seen. Certainly no other like major rom-com I have seen is like this.
Yeah, Parker Posey is quite good. Parker Posey is always great.
Yeah.
And she really, plays this kind of thankless role really well.
Yeah.
It is very it's just the sexual politics of it are very of its time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Speaking of why I thought it was funny that Overnight Delivery, Paul Rudd is like, "Oh, you shouldn't be having a relationship with your teacher." Paul Rudd's entire arc in this movie is just him dating a high school student in his class, which is it's so weird because all of the stuff with Parker Posey, I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, this is kind of like Pleasantville, and it's like it's a movie that's trying to be about like women's liberation and like about like empowerment through sexuality or whatever, but then the whole other arc of the movie is just Paul Rudd being an asshole the whole time and like becoming a better person because he's an asshole, and it's like what?
It's a classic like the writer's barely disguised fetish thing.
Yes.
Like Misha Barton is just complete wish fulfillment.
Yeah.
in this movie.
Like even more than Reese Witherspoon in Overnight Delivery is giving very Manic Pixie Dream Girl, like with her quirky little whatever and her like cute hair, and is like kind of doing, but it works because she's playing like a weirdo Manic Pixie Dream Girl in a movie that like kind of wants that role, and like it works. And in this, it's just disgusting because it's just like, like there's the whole scene where he's like, "Why don't you dress like this at school?" And she's putting on her like mini skirt, and she's like, "Well, that's school." And he's like, "Well, why do you dress like this at work?" And she's like, "That's work." And that explains for some reason why she can wear a crop top and a mini skirt to the professional science lab she works at.
It's so crazy. I'm gonna the story behind this movie,
Please.
It was the first movie from Billy Kent, who is mostly a commercial director and is now an adjunct at NYU. Had a little bit of a festival run. It was produced by Ambush Entertainment, who did like Squid and the Whale around this time. They produced Super, a lot of like little auteur comedies. It was distributed by a company called Cyan Pictures that basically went under immediately after this movie came out. because it only screened in 20 theaters. It had like a kind of poor festival run, and then they just kind of barely put it out.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. It is not a very crowd pleasing movie.
No.
I would say
It's a movie that would be very hard to promote and sell, especially in 2006.
Yeah. Do you want to get into what this movie is about?
Sure. I'll try and explain what this movie is about. This is a movie about a woman who's been married to... So Parker Posey has been married to Paul Rudd for a number of years. We're not really told how long. And over the entire course of their marriage, Paul Rudd has never been able to make his wife come. And this is slowly killing him. He starts the movie as like an alcoholic, washed up man, and the entire reason that we're pointed to as to why he's like that is because he can't make his wife come. And then the whole sort of arc of the movie is about Parker Posey trying to first figure out how to come, and then figure out like how she feels about it. And she starts kind of hooking up with other guys, but they still can't do it, and like it's only the vibrator that works, and she's trying to figure out this whole like sexual awakening thing in her like 20s 30s, while also like getting a big promotion at her job. And meanwhile, Paul Rudd is dating his student, and somehow that's making him a better person because I guess he learns shame eventually in a blockbuster when he has to confront her dad, and like that's supposed to be his like arc. But then the other main thing that's happening in this movie is Danny DeVito plays a local pool contractor / salesman who Parker Posey has been seeing on TV her whole life in this like dorky local ad. And they sort of, her house is the only house that doesn't have a pool in the backyard yet. And so he keeps trying to like follow her and be like, hey, I want to put a pool in your yard so I can make an ad where like they can see that everyone in the area has my pools. And they end up connecting and having this connection, and they like get dinner, and they end up being sort of the romantic core of the movie in only like the back half. Like the second half of the movie is sort of a love story between Danny DeVito, the pool guy, and Parker Posey, the woman who can't come with a man until she meets Danny DeVito. And I found that their whole romance was genuinely sweet to me. And I think part of that is that you have two very talented actors.
Yeah, I think the scene with the two of them in the pool at DeVito's house is very sweet.
Yeah, and the ending, I watched all the bonus features, and there were multiple deleted scenes that both made Paul Rudd look like a worse person, and there was an alternate ending that didn't work as well. It sort of, I don't know, it just sort of like faded to black, where the actual ending of Danny DeVito just basically being like, hey, like, I'm asking if you want to be my girlfriend. It does that proposal thing, like in The Proposal starring Ryan Reynolds, where the big lead up to the end is just them leading up to being like, hey, we should date, which is always so sweet to me and always very refreshing from the like constant rom-coms having to end with them being like, we're getting married, or just a kiss and not talking about it. Like, there's something I really like about rom-coms that end with them being like, hey, what if we were boyfriend and girlfriend?
Yeah, I think it's hard to... It was hard for me to get into that tonal shift watching the movie because of how the rest of it is.
Yeah.
But it's a nice twist that it ends up being about her and Danny DeVito. I would like to run through some of the other people who are in this movie.
Please. The first note I have in my whole page of notes is just this cast? ?
So Paul Rudd's work friend, who is like the gym coach, is played by Keith David. And
Keith David, in his beautiful voice we all know and love, says the line, "A vibrator is not a dick replacement, you Neanderthal. It's a dick teammate."
Yeah.
And that's not the only line he delivers like that. It is something.
He is, the guy who has really good sex, who kind of like teaches Paul Rudd, is a little more enlightened than Paul Rudd, and kind of, helps him move away from his depressive alcoholic kind of state.
Yeah.
Parker Posey's boss is played by Tim Russ, and a great little role.
Yes, I just wrote Tuvok. Tuvok is in this movie.
There's a character who works at the sex toy store and becomes one of Parker Posey's sexual partners, who's played by Heather Graham.
Yeah.
Very surprising. And there is a sort of a masturbation instructor of a kind, played by Liza Minnelli.
It's so good. It's so early in the movie that I wish they didn't put her name in like the credits, because they are like, Liza Minnelli's in this movie, and then it's like, you shouldn't have told me that. The gasp that you would have gotten out of me if I had sat down and then just suddenly Liza Minnelli in a bedazzled shawl that says like masturbation on the back.
It literally says masturbation on the back.
Good. And she's doing it's just like that scene in Fried Green Tomatoes where the lady's like, we're gonna use the hand mirror to meet ourselves, but it's Liza Minnelli.
Yeah,
and it's
in
so
full,
good,
like Arrested Development mode.
Yeah,
like she kills it in that scene, which is kind of funny. You know, when this is a movie about Parker Posey, you know, discovering her sexuality, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's like there's a version of this that really works. Paul Rudd's character is this guy who, it's a good look for Rudd. I'll give it the beard and the curly hair.
Yeah.
He looks great.
Where did I write?
But he's like,
Paul Rudd does look hot post glow up. Is a note I wrote in my notebook.
Absolutely. He looks so hot. He's a guy who like sneaks beers at his desk.
Yeah.
He's a teacher.
Yeah.
And Misha Barton is just, you know, there's a crazy conversation that Misha Barton and Paul Rudd have in his car where she says that she used to be a stoner when she was like 15, and she got clean. She got her act together. She dumped her stoner pals when she heard Paul Rudd describe the cytoplasm.
And there's the whole thing. I like blocked it out until right now, but there's a whole thing where she's like, she's asking Paul Rudd, how do you make me come so hard? And Paul Rudd's like, well, actually, the female orgasm is not in the clitoris. And then he goes off about this whole bullshit. And the whole time I'm sitting there and I'm like, where's Parker Posey? I want to see Parker Posey.
I feel like there's also I have a note that just says Rudd's car is crazy. I don't remember what the car was.
Okay. So, and there's a gag about that. So in the cut of the movie that they released, it's just inexplicable that Parker Posey has a really nice convertible and Paul Rudd has a piece of shit falling apart rust bucket. And in the alternate opening that was on the DVD, there's like a gag about it where he has to go and get in the convertible and then pull it out of the driveway and park it on the road so that he can go and get into his piece of shit and then drive that to work. And the piece of shit has a bumper sticker that's like, I forget what it says, but it's the kind of like, if you're reading this, thank a teacher type thing. And it's never really explained why he can't get a nice car when clearly Parker Posey is like a very high paid executive at this ad agency or whatever. It's just like he just looks like shit and lives in the garage and is like using like a pool float to add padding to his mattress for no reason, when his wife is like clearly she just got a big promotion. She's like VP of Cleveland.
Yeah, there's a sort of like, I found myself asking, this is a Cleveland movie shot in Cleveland,
very Cleveland,
Ohio, very Cleveland. I found myself asking a question that gets asked in, like, you know, screenwriting 101 classes, which is, why now? Like,
yeah.
like the driving incident is that Parker Posey's like assistant, the Miranda Bailey character, who's reading a magazine called Sissy, reads a statistic about, you know, 30% of women have never had an orgasm or something, and you know, that reveals to her like she sort of starts to reflect on the fact that she's never had an orgasm. And then she has a conversation with Paul Rudd, who it turns out has just been kind of simmering about this the whole time.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's sort of like, it's not entirely, it doesn't really make sense to me like why she didn't pursue this sooner, or why they haven't like talked about it until now. You know.
Her whole character is it's like very precocious and like innocent, and I think part of why I liked her performance was because she's playing this like really strange sort of person that is both like very optimistic and sort of delusional about the state of her life, but then also clearly unhappy. Like, she gets at sort of the like suburban malaise of being a housewife who like makes more money than her husband, but like it gets at something in a really goofy way, but she's nailing it, and the movie wouldn't work without her as this like centerpiece nailing that thing.
Yeah, I love her delivery of the line to Danny DeVito where he's like, "Why don't you have a pool? I'm trying to do this aerial shot for the commercial." And she's like, "I've had my heart set on a gazebo."
Yeah.
And just the way she says it is so great.
Yeah. Like, she's so sweet, and you can't help but root for her. Especially like there's all this like goofy shit she's doing. Like she goes to like a sex shop and tries to buy like the biggest dildo she can find because she just doesn't know what she's doing. And then gets hit on by the woman running the counter, and like
Heather Graham.
Yeah, and it's she just plays it all in a way that you want her to be happy and succeed, and it makes the ending of her ending up with this really sweet Danny DeVito character work very well.
Yeah.
For me anyway.
I was like, good for her.
Yeah, it's a very like good for her movie.
I also liked that Heather Graham came back because she's in that sex op scene, and I'm like, Heather Graham. But then she comes back in a later scene and hands Parker Posey a pamphlet for Vibrators Anonymous.
Yep, Vibanon.
And then later in the movie, it's revealed that the two of them hooked up.
Yep. And when Parker Posey
really
is asked
nice
about it by her assistant friend character, she's just like, I don't know, whatever, you know.
Yeah. And her friend says, so you just kind of slipped and fell into her vagina. I have a note here that says this movie is 16 hours long.
It definitely felt longer than it was. Just because there's a lot packed into it. Another moment that I laughed out loud was when the Paul Rudd's teen girlfriend comes back from her trip to the Galapagos. Don't know why she went there. She just has a shirt that's just a big picture of Charles Darwin on it. And it's like, oh yeah, so we know she likes science, right? She wears glasses sometimes. We knew that she liked science. She didn't need to wear the Darwin shirt after coming back from the Galapagos to then hook up with Paul Rudd in a weird hotel. Like, we knew she liked science. That was established in the first scene with her. They like connect over like labeling the parts of a turtle shell or something in front of a class for no. And it seems like it's trying to say that Paul Rudd is a good teacher who's like fallen on hard times, but I don't think he is a good teacher.
Yeah.
He's just like, okay, guys, you don't want to do the reading? I'm going to identify the parts of a shell. Anyway, that's class.
Yeah, but hey, he got Misha Barton to stop smoking weed.
This is true.
He was so good at teaching science that Misha Barton dumped her stoner pals.
Can we talk about the scene where Parker Posey puts her pager in her underwear?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a scene in this movie that this is probably the scene where I was the most like, are we trying to be a sex comedy? Because it doesn't really decide whether it wants to be like a flat out sex comedy or a flat out rom-com, and it ends in this weird middle place. where we have a scene where Parker Posey has her pager in her underwear, and then Paul Rudd keeps calling her, and so she ends up in a meeting having an orgasm in front of all of her bosses because her pager is in her underwear, and Paul Rudd won't stop calling her.
Yeah, another good Tim Russ scene.
Yep.
And then kind of comes up to her after like that can't happen again. Like that's the kind of he says something like that's the kind of mistake you could only make once, and it's like you could make it once.
Yeah, it's like the one person turns to someone else during that meeting and is like, "This is our VP," but then they're just like, "Whatever." There's a bit where she's
don't do it again.
There's a bit where she's like doing an advertisement for the baseball stadium and can't pronounce this very Polish name.
Yeah,
and then just like falls on the ground laughing about it. That's a scene in the movie.
Yeah, well, she's it has that kind of classic rom-com thing though, where there are like these little scenes that don't have a ton to do with the main plot, but are just kind of like, oh, this is to show that she's in a good mood now, or it's like affecting her work, you know?
Yeah.
It's just the Misha Barton character is so poorly written.
Yeah. Oh,
it's shocking. Every time she says something, you're like, what?
Oh yeah. They go skinny dipping in the school pool, and Misha Barton's like, "This means we're a couple now." It's like, oh, I didn't know that's what did it. Was when you went skinny dipping in the pool at your high school.
The line where he's like, you're 18, right? And she's like, you're thinking of the age of consent, which is 16 in Ohio.
They're not even trying to hide it. It's almost like they wanted to make that movie, and then someone said, you can't make this movie about Paul Rudd and this teenager, and they said, fine.
Yeah,
we'll make it about
here's this movie. Here's this script someone else wrote about a 30-year-old woman having her first orgasm. Just put them together.
Yeah. No one will pay attention to no one will pay attention to this movie, but I'll be able to get it made if I make it about a woman coming. You know.
Little fun fact I have is that Burt Reynolds was apparently offered the Danny DeVito role.
Oh my god. That would have totally changed the dynamic on so many levels, but also would have worked so well. You know, like the fact that it would have been more of a wish fulfillment and less of like a sweet, you know, to have this like older guy but still like hot guy, you know, in that role, versus having Danny DeVito, who is just like, you know, this incredibly sweet and earnest character. Like, it would have changed it completely. Especially because Burt Reynolds as this, like, sex icon and this, like, very, like he's always sort of been this, like, image of masculinity and this specific image of, like, you know, his centerfold is famous. And having him be the first man who is able to get Parker Posey to have an orgasm says a very different thing about masculinity than when it's Danny DeVito who's rocking his twins era bald, but then also has a ponytail look and is sort of playing. He's the pool guy, you know. And when it's like the emotional connection is favored over the sort of towering image of what masculinity and sex appeal is supposed to look like. It makes them. I don't know if I would have liked the movie as much if it was Burt Reynolds, even though I love Burt Reynolds.
It improves it.
Yeah,
it improves it that it's DeVito. I agree.
The amount of Cleveland is very funny. It made me think more than once about one of my favorite like lesser known cuts from the 30 Rock soundtrack, the Cleveland song.
Yeah, the Cleveland episode.
Yeah,
where her and Jason Sudeikis go to Cleveland, and she's like, and it's like everyone wants to go to the Cleve.
Well, of course it was beautiful. It was Cleveland.
Yeah,
and that's the same episode when Tracy's hiding from the I forget. Because there's more than once where Tracy goes undercover or like goes into hiding, but there's a bit in the song where it's like, Tracy Jordan, you gotta get away, and I always have that stuck in my head.
It's when the Black Illuminati
Yes.
is after him.
Yes. I thought about 30 Rock during more than one of these movies.
Yes.
Very 30 Rock heavy slate of movies.
Yeah, it's kind of like I feel like Paul Rudd, like going back to his perception, I feel like he is sort of the guy who, like, if there's a rom-com and a 30 Rock joke, Paul Rudd would be the guy in it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I was also thinking about They Came Together, of course, during this whole slate of movies. I was like,
yeah,
this is what that, I don't know. I was almost wishing that we had watched that after this episode, or like the David Wayne episode had been later in the season, just because getting such a concentrated amount of rom-com now makes me really want to rewatch They Came Together.
Yeah, these notes I wrote are like so unhelpful. Like this one just says "what the fuck" with 4 question marks.
Listen, I think that gets something across. I've wrote down, it's in quotes, so this is clearly a line said in the movie, but it's just "my cock is jammin'." I don't know what
I have that too.
I was like, I don't know. Oh, I
think Rudd says that to Keith David, but I might have that reversed.
Oh, that does sound right, especially because it's right underneath. I wrote down the quote about the vibrator is not a dick replacement. There's a bit where Paul Rudd is in his new apartment after leaving Parker Posey, and he's strumming his guitar, waiting for, I forget who to come over, and he goes like, strum hamburger, strum cheeseburger, and then she's like, oh, let me put the guitar
great.
away.
That's great. That is classic Paul Rudd stuff. So we have to.
We have to.
We can't keep talking about the O in Ohio.
No.
But this is where things get complicated, because the next movie to come out in the U.S. officially was Over Her Dead Body.
Interesting. Okay.
I Can Never Be Your Woman was supposed to come out first, but Over Her Dead Body does come out first. Over Her Dead Body is another fucking crazy movie.
My notes for this movie, there's like a bunch of me like writing stuff, blah blah blah. I say like really bad music, blah 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 blah, and then there's just all caps, like a good chunk of the page just goes Misha Collins ?
I also have Misha Collins in all caps. With question marks and exclamation points.
The shock, the full body shock that I was like thinking about something else, and then Misha Collins was on my screen in this movie.
It's a really funny cameo. I think he like plays that like slimy, like handsome but handsy kind of guy really well. The way that what does he say? He like says something really funny.
I was my brain had been blown to smithereens by witnessing Misha Collins in this movie that I do not remember what he said at all. He was there.
I remember. Because they're like at her door, and Misha Collins just goes like, "Oh, you should come inside." Oh, good idea.
Right. Because the whole thing is that like she's like, "Oh, why do people always think that I want to put out on the first date because I'm a psychic or whatever?" And it's like a playing into that gag, if it could be called a gag.
It's a great little bit of Misha Collins for you there. The story about Over Her Dead Body. This was written and directed by Jeff Lowell, who also wrote John Tucker Must Die and Hotel for Dogs. This is his only directing credit. He's mostly a writer. This was Lake Bell's first major film role. She was mostly known for Boston Legal at the time. She was like a TV star. Oh. A pretty early film role for Eva Longoria too. Yeah. It was kind of like, both of them sort of, coming out for the first time. The film released wide and opened number 11.
This is the one that did worse than... No. What am I thinking of that did worse than Tron?
No. How do you know?
Okay,
Which we'll get to. But this one, it was beat out by There Will Be Blood in its 6th week. The top movie was the Hannah Montana, Miley Cyrus Best of Both Worlds concert film. Also premiering that week was The Eye, starring Jessica Alba, a movie I've never heard of. But what happened with this movie is that it was distributed by New Line Cinema, and New Line Cinema. This came out in February 2008. In November 2007, or maybe even December, like late 2007, New Line Cinema puts out The Golden Compass, and they put so much money into The Golden Compass, and they were like, the trailers were like, this is going to be the next Lord of the Rings, and then it flops. So New Line, which distributes this movie, literally shut down as a studio later this month.
Damn.
Like this, it was like this and Semi-Pro and like what they were just the movies they were throwing out there in February before they shut down for good.
Damn. I didn't know that Golden Compass was what did in New Line.
Yeah.
Damn. I really liked that Golden Compass movie as a child. I should rewatch it. Because I think a lot of my love of it came from just like they have animals who are them.
I'd be very curious because it's like a Chris Weitz movie, I think.
It's got Daniel Craig,
but
is also significant.
Yeah. It ironically, this movie was produced by Gold Circle Films.
It's connected. It's all connected.
It's connected. So
okay,
the release disasters that we're going through here.
Okay. Who wants to break down the plot of this movie?
I will try to break down the plot of Over.
What happens in Over Her Dead Body, please?
So, Eva Longoria plays Paul Rudd's bride to be, who is killed by an angel ice sculpture on her like in the days leading up to her wedding, like while they're setting things up, and she ends up back on Earth. She's got unfinished business. She is too stubborn to listen when people try to tell her what her unfinished business is, but Paul Rudd is seeing Lake Bell, who is a psychic, and who at first he's like, maybe you can help me talk to my well he doesn't really believe
at
it,
first he's like, I'll let my sister talk me into this because it's gonna make whatever, my sister's making me do it.
And she kind of starts by and the sister kind of like gives her this little journal so that she can kind of pretend that she's communicating with the wife. She's very like open and honest about like this stuff kind of I feel like sometimes, but I don't blame you if you don't believe it. It's sort of like this nebulous thing. And then she is visited by Eva Longoria, who believes that her unfinished business is making sure that Lake Bell and Paul Rudd don't end up together. And so what follows is Lake Bell trying to it's they're fighting over Paul Rudd, and one of them is dead and the other one's a psychic. And also Lake Bell has a business partner played by Jason Biggs, who is her gay best friend, or so we think.
When I logged this on Letterboxd after watching it, and I went back and reread your review, laughed out loud. Because your review is just, wait a minute, I have my gay best friend who's a big pot of boiling water in the other room.
It's so fun. Like, we're introduced to Jason Biggs, and like we kind of sort of learn that they have like a catering thing in addition to the psychic thing. Like they do very little explanation, and we're just introduced to Jason Biggs like doing bits with a giant pot of boiling water.
It's just him screwing up in a kitchen and like lighting himself on fire, not knowing what bolognese is or whatever, and then
just off to the side while the scenes are happening.
And then immediately we're given a scene where like Lake Bell is trying on clothes or whatever, and she's like, I love having a gay best friend or whatever. Like they were like, you will immediately know everything you need to know about this man now, and there will be nothing more intense happening with this character at all. He will just be there.
My God.
This movie was so bad, and it was
Yeah.
It was like I was entertained the whole time. it wasn't like I was straight up bored until maybe the last like third, but it was so bad in so many ways.
We might as well say it because we're gonna jump around this movie. In the third act, Jason Biggs reveals that he wasn't actually gay. And he's been pretending to be gay for 5 years just to be close with like the.
First, he kisses her like unasked, unprepared for, just kisses her, and then she's like.
And at first, I was like, "That's it would be kind of neat if they did a thing where it's like it was just the heat of the moment,
Yeah.
these things happen sometimes." But then he's like, "I'm not actually gay."
And she has this line where she's like, because they apparently like went out on a couple dates or whatever, and he was too nervous to make a move, and so they would go to the movies at some point, and Lake Bell turns to him and is like, "Oh, I love having a gay friend," or whatever, and he goes, "Well, I guess now I'm gay." But Lake Bell's line is, "You didn't make a move for a whole week. Of course, I assumed you were gay," and I was like shocked into silence. I was like, "It was 2008. Damn. Oh my God."
Yeah.
Like.
Didn't make a move for a week.
So he must be gay. The amount of homophobia in this movie shocked me because I was not expecting any, and then there was a bunch.
I do think it's kind of funny the way that Jason Biggs' character approaches that conversation.
Yeah.
Like, in the middle of Lake Bell, like, having beef with a ghost, Jason Biggs is like, "Do you see how hard this has been for me?
Yeah. Do you know how much I spent on this shirt? I wouldn't spend that much on a shirt." He's like, "Keeping up this appearance has been so difficult on me."
Right, like no consideration for how she feels about this.
No.
It's just like this has been so hard for me.
And not even like, "Oh my God, being gay is hard," in a like I have to be so fashionable. How do I do that? I have to pay money for this haircut.
Yeah.
I don't want this haircut. It's very like,
I did think it was it's crazy.
It's very like post Queer Eye being big for the first time take on like, "Oh my God, being gay must be so hard."
I did think it was funny, like at the end at the wedding when he starts chatting up this girl. He's just like, "I'm straight."
Yeah. Just want to get that out there. And then he kisses her, and it's like, bro.
Yeah.
He is funny.
Anyway, so that's our Jason Biggs corner.
Anyway, okay.
What else? Paul Rudd. I go on.
My big complaint with this, I have two big complaints with this movie. One being, Eva Longoria's character is never shown as being at all likable at all. We are introduced to her, and she's like harassing the catering staff at her wedding and like yelling at a man for not putting wings on the ice sculpture or whatever. But then the entire movie, we're supposed to feel for her and Paul Rudd and like him getting over her. But at no point is it ever like really shown why or how Paul Rudd cares about this woman who is like specifically portrayed to be like shrill and annoying. Like she doesn't end up hearing what the angel has to say because she's so annoying that the angel just leaves her alone. Like, and then the redemption arc should have been, instead of her being like, "Oh, I have to learn to let go of my husband," it should have just been her learning to be nice to a catering person. Like the fact that it opens with her yelling at the catering staff, and then the like new love interest of her husband, of her almost husband, is also a caterer. I was like, that is your arc. Why does it
right?
It doesn't make any sense why they did it the way they did it.
Yeah, there is a fun little mini arc with Stephen Root, who is great in this. And he is the guy who made the ice sculpture that killed Eva Longoria, who is there on Earth with her, and it like gently guides her to the reality that your mission isn't to break up this couple. It still has to do with, like her purpose in life that went unfulfilled still has to do with like the guy she was gonna marry. But she learns to like listen to Stephen Root.
She learns to,
which we could all stand to learn.
This is true. It's so annoying because none of the character, like, I liked Lake Bell's character. I thought Lake Bell was very likable, and
I liked her.
Her like weird, I'm the quirky main character of a rom-com. Oh no, I'm so clumsy thing was like cute, and she did a good job. Every other character in this movie, I thought was kind of an asshole, and it.
Paul Rudd's a jackass. In
yeah,
this.
Above and beyond. His sister's like stealing from him to like go behind his back to convince a psychic that his dead wife is talking to her. Like, everyone else in this movie is an asshole.
It's tough. There's really like very little to like kind of latch on to as you're going through it. And we're introduced to Eva Longoria. It's her wedding day. I understand. Like I'm willing to give her that leeway where like she's throwing a fit because it's her wedding day, and like we could be introduced to like something that makes her a little likable shortly thereafter. And we just never get
it. She is just the entire movie portrayed as just an annoying woman who no one likes. And
there is a really fun shot where like I started to see what they were going for, where it's like it's like Paul Rudd and Lake Bell, and they're like in a car, and then there's like the camera like pans up, and Eva Longoria is like standing behind the car, like crossed arms, like that was a really fun reveal.
There's all that. It's one of those movies where if you just took all the pieces and rearranged them a little and made like a few different choices, you'd have a fine like mid-range rom-com, and it would be fine.
I think my like take on it is that like if this had been made by like by a solid team of like writers and directors and behind the scenes people in like the early 90s, it could have been a cult classic.
Well, here's the thing.
Because like there's a version of this that's like Death Becomes Her, Adam Sandler, like there's a version that's more that.
I love ghost romances. This is a well-known fact about me. I love them. I could not stop thinking about Just Like Heaven, where we have Mark Ruffalo, who buys an apartment that ends up being haunted by... That's still Reese Witherspoon, right? Another Reese Witherspoon one. And he has to deal with this ghost who's like trying to kick him out, Beetlejuice style. But then they fall in love, and he has to like solve the mystery of like why she's haunting this apartment and all this stuff. And it is genuinely romantic, and it's very sweet. And even there's like a Hallmark movie called The Spirit of Christmas, where she buys an inn and that's haunted by like an old bootlegger man. Like there's ghost rom-coms and ghost romance can be done very well, even in the like goofier, smaller scale way. But you have to like feel bad for the ghost, and you have to believe that that there has to be sympathy for the character who's already dead, because like that's sort of the whole backbone of like why ghost romances work, is that you're like, oh no, they're such a good person, but they're dead. So like, how is this romance ever going to work? Or like, how is this life goal ever going to work itself out? And it didn't do that.
The movie's sort of a victim of its time in that it's in that like post-American Pie kind of like pre-Apatow, like like just post-Apatow, but really in that post-American Pie, like sex comedy, kind of like more mean-spirited, more like gaggy sort of vibe, and it's exactly not what the movie needs to work.
No.
There are all these scenes with Lake Bell and Paul Rudd. Like there's a part of the movie after like the fun and games have been established, and it's like Eva Longoria is going to try to sabotage this relationship, and Lake Bell's going to try to make it work. Where it's just like there's the scene of them at the pier where she spills mustard all over herself, and it's just like because it's. There are scenes of like Eva Longoria messing with them, but then there's also scenes of just her like fucking it up for no reason. and it's just weird and kind of hard to tell like what it's going for in those moments.
Yeah, because like I read the mustard thing because I think that's before she realizes that, because Eva Longoria goes to Lake Bell and like pretends to be a messenger from Beyond, who's like telling her to break up with, and I feel like it was like somewhere around that era where the mustard thing happened. And so it was like I was reading it as like it's Eva Longoria being less direct, but it's never explained well.
There are a couple scenes like that around that point in the movie where it's like, you know, she's being clumsy or awkward or weird, but like we're not seeing Eva Longoria like mess with her in any specific way. It just kind of seems like, and you could buy maybe like, oh, she's kind of on edge because of this thing, and that's, you know, making her you know, clumsy, but it was just a confusing tone for me.
Yes. Confusing movie all around.
Yeah. I will say one other thing about the Misha Collins scene is that it is in the middle of a montage set to Move Along by the All-American Rejects.
My note goes, Arby's plus church montage with All-American Rejects. Arrow, Misha Collins?
Yeah, I was already reeling from the All-American Rejects of it all, and then Misha Collins throws up.
It was Paul Rudd sits down with a big bag of Arby's, and I was like, oh, Arby's sponsored this? And then for some reason, Lake Bell is in church. Actually, it just came to I remembered. The best bit in this movie is when Lake Bell goes to her Catholic priest and is like...
The Exorcist, yeah.
And he's like, oh, haven't seen you in church. You still doing that, you know, psychic stuff? And she's like, oh, you know, whatever, Father. I need to do an exorcism. And then there's this whole exorcism sequence that was fun, and like I was like, oh,
I like that scene.
Now we're gonna get a movie of her trying to exorcise this ghost in all these different ways, but no, it was just that one fun scene.
Yeah, it's a fun scene. The relationship between her and this priest is really fun because it's like. Clearly it's like they've talked and she knows that, and he knows that she's a psychic, and he's like trying to tell her like, you know, you really shouldn't do that, and they have kind of this like this very like nice little relationship.
Yeah.
I there are a couple things I thought were like a little funny, like the part where Eva Longoria is doing a list of colors and numbers. I thought was pretty good. Yeah. When she screams when she sees Eva Longoria in the bathroom mirror, and then Paul Rudd's like, "What's going on?" and she says, "There's potpourri."
Yeah, Lake Bell did great. I think it was a vehicle in which Lake Bell was able to shine amidst an otherwise fairly mediocre to bad film.
Pretty bad. I will say. Speaking of homophobia, there's the scene at the airport at the end where Jason Biggs keeps being like, I'm not gay, and there's this gay guy at the airport who's like, methinks he doth protest too much.
Who is that actor? I never ended up looking him up, but I was like...
His name is Sam Pancake.
Well, shiver me timbers, Sam Pancake.
And we love him, and we need him on the show.
I feel like he's in something else. Like, I saw that guy, and I was like, I know this guy. And then I never looked him up. Maybe it's just like he did a bunch of like random sitcom-y stuff at the time.
Yeah, let's see.
He was in Arrested Development. He was in Will and Grace. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like he's a guy that you get to like play a gay guy.
Yes, he played a waiter in Friends. More than once he played a waiter in Friends. That's 100% where I know him from. He's definitely like the waiter that comes out and is like, oh, do you want me to take this? And Joey's like, no, I'm going to finish it, you know?
Mm-hmm. So that's Over Her Dead Body.
Yeah. Yeah. Bad movie.
I Could Never Be Your Woman.
Better movie, in my opinion.
I would say so. Amy Heckerling.
Yeah.
The great Amy Heckerling, director of Clueless and Fast Times and Vamps.
Mm-hmm.
This is an idea that she had in the mid-90s while she was working on the Clueless TV show. And she was like kind of jaded with like being an older woman in Hollywood, raising her daughter. You know, she was like, let me write a script about that. In the early 2000s, Paramount picked up the script. They were surprise, a little reticent about making a movie with an older woman in the leading role, so they put it on ice. Michelle Pfeiffer picks it up and shops it to other financiers. They find a financier in an eccentric French producer named Philippe Martinez, who is known for smoking big cigars and taking meetings in a bathrobe and all kinds of fun stuff. He's a guy who has started a new studio, Bauer Martinez. He's like looking for films. He directed Wake of Death, which was a Jean-Claude Van Damme film.
I wonder if I've seen that one. Sorry.
They worked together a couple times.
Yeah.
I think he produced JCVD.
Yes.
They've worked together a couple times.
That totally tracks.
But Philippe Martinez gives them $25 million, but insists that they shoot it in London rather than LA for tax credit reasons. So one of the things about this movie is that it has a huge ensemble cast of British character actors.
It all makes sense now. Just like in how in previous movies I have, Misha Collins ? And Tuvok ? The shock of seeing David Mitchell in this.
David Mitchell, yeah.
Shocking. David Mitchell being on screen at the same time as Michelle Pfeiffer is something I never ever thought in 1,000 years I would see, and yet it is a large chunk of this movie.
It all comes from the fact that they had to shoot in London,
yeah,
and they had to pretend that London was LA, which they do an okay job of by like not doing a lot of scenes outside.
But then that's Graham Norton playing her like costumer.
Graham Norton, yeah, the gay guy, yeah.
It's okay. This is one where I didn't actually read the Wikipedia page beforehand, and this is shocking, but also everything's making sense.
It's got Olivia Colman. Yeah. It's just like it's like half the cast of Peep Shows in this thing. And it's supposed to be in LA. In sunny Los Angeles. So in London, Amy Heckerling discovers a young actress named Saoirse Ronan, who this is her first movie.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me just take a note about that quickly.
Yeah. We'll get to that. This movie was shot in its entirety in 2005.
Damn.
But it ran into issues. MGM picked it up for distribution, but they balked at Michelle Pfeiffer's contract, which Philippe Martinez had given her a contract where like she took a lesser salary to get 15% of the gross.
Oh yeah.
But MGM was like, we don't want to like we're distributing this thing and she's getting 15% of the gross before we touch it. They were not happy with that. So they shelved the film on the day that Michelle Pfeiffer was like had a flight to go start the press tour. They shelved it.
Damn.
It was on its way to coming out in like early 2006 or maybe even late 2005. Philippe Martinez tried to get Pfeiffer to cut her fee. But MGM backed out of the deal completely before it could be resolved. So now that takes like all of 2006, basically. It's early 2007. The movie doesn't have a distributor. And Philippe Martinez, who started this as like this hotshot new producer, now is in a ton of debt.
Yeah.
He had already sold the DVD and TV rights to the Weinstein Company. So he was trying to find a distributor for this thing with no back end, just for gross, and Michelle Pfeiffer gets first dibs on the gross. Like it was not an attractive deal for people for a movie that had been shot 2 years ago. He struck a new deal with an indie distributor called Freestyle Releasing. They had just had a breakout hit with The Illusionist. They were, feeling hot. They were ready to release I Can Never Be Your Woman on 1,200 screens in fall 2007. But he also made a deal with Blue Rider Pictures to foot the bill for marketing. And Blue Rider was like, we need Michelle Pfeiffer to do a full press tour for this. And she was like, I this is not what I signed up for. I made this movie 2 years ago. It was supposed to have like a full release, and now they're kind of dumping it, and they're not putting effort into marketing. You know, they had a big falling out. Michelle Pfeiffer didn't want to do that. That caused another deal to fall through. And so the movie doesn't get a theatrical release, but again, the Weinstein Company has the TV and DVD rights. So the Weinsteins in late 2006 made a deal with Blockbuster, where Blockbuster would get the exclusive rental rights for a certain window for their films, whether they were in theaters or straight to video. So in February 2008, just 12 days after Over Her Dead Body came out, I Could Never Be a Woman was released exclusively to Blockbuster.
Damn. What a journey.
Yeah. And like Overnight Delivery, it's a movie with like an all-star cast and a famous director and a pretty big budget, and it's like it just got dumped to Blockbuster in 2008.
This would have been much like I said about Fundamentals of Caring. This is a movie that I think would have succeeded had it been given a theatrical release. Like it's not like the O in Ohio or Over Her Dead Body, where it's like, this is a gonzo sort of, I don't know what's happening, this isn't very commercial, and or isn't very good. But I Could Never Be Your Woman was just like a solid sort of commercial rom-com that had me laughing out loud more than once. It's got a great cast.
Yeah.
Really fun cameos. If this had been in theaters, it would have been like a great go see with your mom movie.
Yeah. It would have. It would have. You know, it wouldn't have been everyone's cup of tea, but it would have made.
It would have
money.
at least probably broken even, especially if it like depending on when it got released. You know.
Yeah, but then you have to consider that like they were trying, like. It would have made money if like a studio had gotten behind it early and stuck with it.
Yeah.
You know, by the time they're like Michelle Pfeiffer gets first cut and someone else is already getting the DVD rights, so you don't get anything except the gross, and you don't get all of that. You know, it was a tough deal to make.
Yeah. It's a movie that was backed into a corner.
Another little tidbit before we get into the nitty gritty. At one point, Norm Macdonald said that he was going to be in this movie and that he was growing a mustache for it. He never said what role he was going to play. It seems like maybe he was going to be the John Lovitz character. John Lovitz, of course, does not have a mustache in the movie, but he said he was growing the mustache for a movie that was I Can Never Be a Woman, and then the mustache disappeared and he wasn't in the movie.
I could see him being in the Fred Willard role, the president of comedy.
That would be fun.
Like I either of those roles, I could definitely see him in.
Yeah. Fred Willard is really fun in this
I
movie.
love Fred Willard.
He's really
Every
great.
time Fred Willard shows up in anything, I'm like, oh, thank God Fred Willard's here.
Yeah, all right.
I know. Like, John Lovitz is also really fun in this, doing a very John Lovitz thing. Like, he sort of just feels like he's playing like every character he ever plays, but it's always good.
He's such a funny character because he's just like, because he is so like the loser ex-husband who can just like show up and doesn't have to worry about all these problems that Michelle Pfeiffer is going through.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about what this movie is about?
I would love to talk about what this movie's about. So this is a movie about Michelle Pfeiffer, who plays a middle-aged, aging TV show writer who has been working on this show called You Go Girl, which is a like teen boppy Hannah Montana meets Saved by the Bell thing.
It's a pretty direct, like, the Clueless TV show is what it's going for.
And then at the same time, she's trying to raise her daughter, played by Saoirse Ronan, and deal with her ex-husband, John Lovitz, and deal with, like, the executives at the TV channel, like Fred Willard. And amidst all this, she ends up meeting this young and up-and-coming actor, Paul Rudd, who's very funny and who she sort of really clicks with and really thinks is going to be great for the show. And then they start dating. The rest of the movie is sort of just follows some like pretty classic rom-com beats of like they have a misunderstanding because she thinks he's cheating on her, but really he's not. It's like her secretary being jealous, and like they end up together and like it's all fine. And there's like her show gets canceled, and so then she has to sort of try and develop a new show, but there's like more misunderstandings. And the whole time she's helping Saoirse Ronan sort of like navigate like her first crush. And there's sort of all these very classic elements, but it's mixed up in an incredibly LA, which is hilarious because it's not in LA, it's in London, but like very LA sort of story of like fame and aging. And it's a very quick movie. It's a movie that every corner is dropping some kind of pop culture reference. There's an amazing sequence where Saoirse Ronan and her friend steal Michelle Pfeiffer's like phone and look up the phone numbers of famous people and are just calling. Like it starts out with them getting hung up on, and they go, Matthew Perry has no sense of humor. And then they call Henry Winkler, and they just go, hey. And Henry Winkler, who is laughing at a copy of like Philosophy, just goes, no, it's slower than that. And then like later when Michelle Pfeiffer confronts them on it, is like, hey guys, you can't do that. They're like, sorry. And she's like, who else did you call? And she's like, oh, you know, David Hyde Pierce, Johnny Knoxville. They just like list off all these people who were big in the 2000s. And it's a very like 2000s fun, like seeped in the social consciousness and like pop culture of the era. And that was one of the things that I really liked about the movie, was like there's a gag where she has a signed photo from Drew Carey, and Saoirse Ronan just goes, oh, that was a present from Drew Carey.
It's a really fun line. I think part of the problem with this movie when it came out is that these are references that were very timely in 2005 when they shot the movie. You know, there's a Will and Grace reference, and it's like, Will and Grace.
There's a reference to the Subway guy who lost all the weight eating Subway. There's a prominent Eminem poster. There's a line.
The Eminem poster is really good.
The Eminem poster is really good. There's Michelle Pfeiffer is trying to convince one of the other stars of her show to like be nice to Paul Rudd, and she goes, "You never know. This guy could be the next Ben Stiller."
Yeah. Ben Stiller was everything. And there's an element like I really liked the kind of on-set sort of like politics stuff because it felt very 30 Rock, you know,
it
like
felt so I was thinking of 30 Rock all throughout this film.
Fred Willard is obviously the Jack, and then like Stacey Dash is kind of like Tracy and Jenna in a really fun way. This is a fun Stacey Dash performance. She really like you know, is playing I mean, obviously she was on the Clueless TV show, so she's like, her character is kind of herself, but she really has fun with it. Another thing about the lore of this movie that is worth bringing up is that Chris Kattan has claimed that Lorne Michaels coerced him into having a sexual relationship with Amy Heckerling in the 90s. And it's been argued by some people that the Paul Rudd character in this movie is a stand-in for Chris Kattan, and it's about that relationship. I don't think that's true. I think that Amy Heckerling and Chris Kattan, it seems like they did have a relationship, but it also seems like this is so one-to-one with the Clueless TV show that it probably is about someone who was on the Clueless TV show. There are a couple people that would fit that bill. And, you know, Amy Heckerling has been asked about it, and she's basically been like,
don't remind me about that movie.
Yeah.
That, like, I'm sure this was something that amidst all of the extended, drawn out attempts to get it released, eventually she was just like, okay, whatever, I've moved on.
Yeah. And it seems like she, you know, whatever happened with her and Chris Kattan, it seems like she, is just like, that guy's crazy. I don't know. I don't know what's up with him. Which doesn't surprise me about Chris Kattan.
No.
There are, Yes, a lot of great pop culture references in this.
At one point she goes, "I'm hurtling towards Cloris Leachman."
Yeah. There's, I think it's a Saoirse Ronan line where she's like, "How did TiVo know you like South Park?"
There's an amazing bit where, oh my god, what is his name? I have to like look it up. The guy that plays the pirate with one eye in Pirates of the Caribbean, Mackenzie Crook, is sitting in the office waiting to go and see the president of comedy, and Michelle Pfeiffer's sitting next to him on one side and his agent is sitting next to him on the other side, and the agent is just listing off women, and every woman the guy just goes, hag, Brit hag, old hag.
Yeah, and a lot of them are like people who Michelle Pfeiffer has been in movies with.
yeah.
I love the way that Michelle Pfeiffer dresses, which is basically just the way that Amy Heckerling dresses, but so many great outfits. And Saoirse Ronan's outfits are great too.
It's so 2000s in the most like fun way. Like they are having so much fun with the costumes on this movie, and having Graham Norton as the like gay costumer on the show is also like a wild choice, but it I don't know, it just feels like everyone is having a lot of fun on set and having a lot of fun with the dynamics.
Yeah. And
it's too bad that there's like all this other stuff that the movie got bogged down in, because it seems like everyone was having some level of just like playful good time within this satire of Hollywood.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of great, and this is something that Amy Heckerling does really well, is there are a lot of like little bits of satire woven into it. It's not like completely concentrated on one thing or like beating a joke into the ground. Like there's the bit early on about her like writing black characters on the show and asking her like 10-year-old daughter, do people still say G? and it's a great cut from that shot of her writing to the black actors saying the lines. That is just a little thing, but is such a specific and true part of this entire like TV world. And then David Mitchell says, "I like the bit about smoking mad trees."
It's much like 30 Rock, and part of why I think 30 Rock works really well and why this works well in similar ways is that you feel on every level that it is coming from someone who has experienced the reality, and they are poking fun at the absurdity of reality more than just like making it up, you know?
Absolutely. The character of Jeannie, her assistant, played by Sarah Alexander, is a very strange character, I think. Like when we're introduced to her, like we see her in the shot in the show and they're cutting her out, and then we see her in her office and she's making fat photoshops of the other cast members on the show.
While on the phone with her mom, being like, "Oh, they cut me because they said I was too hot. Oh, I gotta go, Mom." I was just thinking about this character today because when Paul Rudd meets her to pick up his first set of scripts, he throws an M&M into her butt crack while she's leaned over. And then she spends the rest of the movie trying to get with him.
Yeah.
She spends the rest of the movie chasing this man who, upon meeting her, was like, this is how I speak to women.
Yeah. She does a lot to kind of try to sabotage Paul Rudd's relationship with Michelle Pfeiffer. She like, and I mean, speaking of 30 Rock does the thing where Liz is dating the younger guy and they like both lie about their ages.
Well, yeah. They also do the thing where she's dating a cast member.
True.
That's in a Blacklight Attack.
That's
a great episode.
There's a lot of overlap for sure.
It's extensive. Yeah. Even like the producers, the internal like writing room gag, they're very much holding hands with 30 Rock.
There's a bit with Rosencrantz and O'Reilly, which I love. The two writers who are spinning off their own show.
There's all these fake posters for a show that I think is supposed to have Chuck Norris in it.
Yeah.
It's in the background of like a lot of other shots, and I was fascinated by it, and it was really giving Tracy's dressing room.
Yeah. Paul Rudd is very charming in this, very funny for the most part. There are a couple things like when he throws the M&M in the girl's butt that are a little less charming. Yeah. But there's when we meet him, he's in the audition room and or he's like outside and they're like, "Oh, give us a sec," and then he yanks himself out of the doorway. And Amy Heckerling is like, "How did he do that?" And I'm also like, "How did he do that?"
Yeah, he does a really good job at it.
Yeah.
And then he comes in and he blows them away with his acting ability.
Yeah, he's really funny. We talk about physicality. He does the dance to Switch,
his dance number,
which is an iconic GIF and is like so good. It's such a good
so
sequence.
Good.
Saoirse Ronan is so good.
She's so good.
She delivers so many great lines and she nails every single one of them.
Yeah.
Like when she's like 15 is the new 17, or when she's fighting with that kid in school and she's like he said your show dropped to 6.3.
And then Michelle Pfeiffer's like, Matt Damon's gonna fire your dad.
Yeah.
I thought that the two of them had such great chemistry as like a mother-daughter duo.
Absolutely.
It was really fun to it was just very fun in the way that like they were both really quirky characters and they work very well together, and you can see how it would be a relationship where they are both being formed by each other. Like it works so well as a like single mom and older daughter.
She plays like a great like precocious LA kid who
so jaded already.
Writes song parody about George Bush.
There's a bit where she's like, it's after the guy that she likes goes on a date with someone else or whatever, and she goes, "Just call me Drew." And it's never addressed again, but I was like, what? What's up with this weirdo?
She says,
Saoirse Ronan.
Could I change my name to Drew?
Yeah, and I was like, so are we getting queer subtext now? What's happening?
It is giving Lady Bird, and I didn't think about that until we just brought it up. But like, wow.
Yeah, because there's like that, and then she's doing these like Weird Al song parodies. She's always dressed in like very, I'm gonna say like Avril Lavigne. It's very Avril Lavigne. Like I'm wearing the skirt on top of my jeans.
Yeah.
And I'm just obsessed with this little girl. She does very, very good weird girl.
And she loves to play Ape Escape.
She's over Barbies. Barbies are done.
Ape Escape, which everyone in the movie calls Apes Escape, which is also fun.
That's the copyright. They were like, we can't actually say the name of it. We can just play this song.
We can play the song and show footage from it, but we have to call it Apes Escape. But that's like a great little. That's kind of a great little bit of like you have it where like in your house you just call it Apes Escape for some reason, and you don't really think about it.
That's just a gift from Drew Carey.
Yeah. Maybe the name Drew comes from Drew Carey.
Cleveland, it's all connected.
Cleveland rocks, as he says. The songs that she parodies are kind of another example of like her being precocious, but also maybe like the fact that this movie was shot a few years before it came out. Like she parodies "Oops, I Did It Again," and then at the talent show she does "Ironic." Both of which are very late 90s, kind of songs. And the Eminem poster too, she's obviously meant to be kind of an out of time kid who like is raised on like stuff that her mom was into, but like it just like it jerks a few more years this way. Something we have not even mentioned yet is that Tracy Ullman plays Mother Nature in this movie.
Yes. This movie opens with a like Substance-esque like sequence of, well, actually no, it starts with Tracy Ullman talking to the camera and talking about like back in when I created Earth, it was like this, and humans used to care. And then it goes into
like a montage of mountains and bees and things like that.
Yeah, and then it turns into like pills and shots and like the whole credits are over like people getting plastic surgery.
Yeah.
And it reminded me very much of The Substance. But then it's just Mother Nature showing up so that Michelle Pfeiffer can talk to her as she's like eating like Cheez-Its and just being like, oh my God.
Yeah, she's kind of like the voice in Michelle Pfeiffer's head a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. And it's sort of the voice of Amy Heckerling injecting like the specific sort of injecting the satire in a way that you can't avoid it, but also like making it funny for the sort of more overt themes that she's trying to get at.
Yeah, and I think I like her kind of screed at the beginning about baby boomers, and I think it's like a fun perspective. And then I love like the argument that Michelle Pfeiffer has with her later, where she's like, "What's so great about nature?" You know, it's a fun thing that adds a whole other layer to this already pretty dense movie.
Yeah, the Tracy Ullman as Mother Nature reminded me so much of Rachel Dratch.
Yeah.
I was like, this role could it yet again just continuing to make me think about 30 Rock.
Yeah.
Felt like this is a bit that would be in 30 Rock.
Yeah.
It
really
in 30
is.
Rock would be played by Rachel Dratch.
Absolutely, yeah. I love that we're hearing about Dylan, the guy that Saoirse Ronan's into the whole movie, and then we finally see him at the end, and he's like a funny guy. You're like,
welcome to the stage. Yeah. And he's so mesmerized by her cover.
I like this
Ironic.
guy. You know, he's got the fedora on and like the suit that's too big. It's a fun little kid.
There's a bit where we go into Michelle Pfeiffer's brain.
Like
there's like a
Neutron
CGI.
style. Yeah.
It's like Spider-Man. It's
very
crazy.
It was very Jimmy Neutron brain blast to me.
Yeah.
And that's when she kind of realizes that her assistant has been sabotaging her relationship. One of the things that she does to sabotage the relationship is that she takes a she's on a website called nakedtelevision.biz. She happens to be looking at a picture of Brianna on that website, the Stacey Dash character, and then a guy comes in like, oh, here's Paul Rudd's phone, and she's like, and she takes a picture of her computer screen with the flip phone camera and sends it as Paul Rudd's background. And then it's a really convoluted plan, like with the parking ticket with the Photoshop, it's so confusing. But I do love the payoff of that, where like she finds the phone, Paul Rudd walks in and sees it and is like, hey, when'd you do this? And she's like, okay, so this is some bullshit someone's doing.
Yeah. Immediately was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. This is a fun movie, and it's really fun to talk about. Mm-hmm. I think it is on the messy side for me personally. It is, you know, fraught with issues behind the scenes, obviously, and I think that does come through on screen sometimes. There's some like kind of obvious ADR, and there are moments where there's like a glowing effect on Tracy Ullman, and there are moments where it's just kind of like a smear, you know, like it's got its flaws, but it's a really fun kind of romp that you can you know, have a great time with. Yeah,
and it's got a great soundtrack. After I watched it, I just like pulled up the soundtrack on Spotify to listen to, because it's a really fun blend of like late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah,
whatever. That's
another thing about Amy Heckerling is that her movies all have incredible soundtracks.
Yeah.
So that leaves us with one more movie.
Oh, God. Of the movies that we watched, we've already talked about all the ones that I've liked. And we're about to get into literally one of my least favorite things we've watched so far.
Interesting. There are some things that I like about this movie.
There are redeeming qualities.
It has kind of won me over in hindsight a little bit, although it was not always fun to watch. The last movie we're talking about is called How Do You Know? Mm-hmm. This is one of the biggest box office bombs of all time.
Yes. It shockingly so.
One of the biggest. It is certainly one of the true like Rudd duds. You know, one of the biggest ones. It put James L. Brooks into retirement, essentially, after it failed. He wrote and directed this. He's writing and directing a new movie this year, Ella McKay, but has not done anything else since 2010. It also put Jack Nicholson into retirement. This is the second movie we've covered on this podcast that put multiple people into retirement.
Yep.
So this movie had $120 million budget.
The Wikipedia for this is so funny because it's just going into detail about how much money it cost and how much money it lost. That's like the main thing going on this Wikipedia page.
Yeah. Well, so the thing is, James L. Brooks, right? He's a he's a legendary filmmaker. He had a great run of movies that made a ton of money, that were big, like crossover hits, critically acclaimed, kind of ending with As Good as It Gets. And then he does Spanglish, which was another big budget movie, Adam Sandler in the lead role, kind of a flop. It was, people were pretty disappointed in it. And then it's like 6 years between Spanglish and this. Like he, he's kind of like back to basics. This is going to be like a big modern rom-com with like big stars, Reese Witherspoon, Paul Rudd, Owen Wilson, Jack Nicholson, all these people we love. And the combined salaries of those four stars and James L. Brooks was $50 million right there. Everyone got their full quote. They were like, we're printing money here. And James L. Brooks also generally has kind of a slow and meticulous style. He shoots a lot of extra footage. And that also kind of added to the budget really ballooning here. It's not just talent on screen; it's talent behind the screen. The cinematographer is Janusz Kaminski. The composer is Hans Zimmer. Richard Marx edited it. All this, real top notch talent. It comes out December 2010. A legendarily bad season at the movie.
Yep. The things that it landed behind are very telling.
In its opening weekend, in its opening day, it was number 5. In its opening weekend, it was number 8. And the new releases it was behind were Tron Legacy, Yogi Bear, Chronicles of Narnia, Voyage of the Dawn Treader. The third one.
Yep.
And this season also had, the next week it was like Little Fockers, Gulliver's Travels. This is a famously bad season at the movies. And as I told to you, True Grit comes out around this time, and part of the reason that movie was like a huge box office success, like it made a ton of money, is because families were going to the movies and they were like, I hear these are all bad. Let's go see the True Grit, I guess.
Yeah.
So something I'll say, is that there are things I like about this movie. There are things I think are very funny in this movie. It is interesting to sort of pay attention to like all these legendary people who were working on it on screen and behind the scenes. It is not well made.
No.
It feels amateurish in a lot of ways.
Yes. This was, of the movies we watched in this slate, this is the one that came with the most behind the scenes footage. And I could have watched the entire thing with James L. Brooks's commentary. I did not. I watched the selected commentary on certain scenes with him and Owen Wilson. And it's so interesting to watch the behind the scenes for this, because it's all the actors and all the other people being like, it's such an honor to work with someone who's so talented and like is so thoughtful. And then it's a lot of him talking about like how much he researched and the authenticity and how like he was really aiming for, it's him spouting all these things that you're supposed to sort of spout. And clearly he very sincerely believes in it. at one point he says that like the hospital scene is the funniest scene I've ever been a part of. And he's got this quote that I wrote down that was, the how do you know of this movie? It's like a little like a question. How do you know you're in love? It's like, yeah, James Brooks, that's the movie.
Yeah. The how do you know is almost like a question of the movie.
And like he like in theory apparently he like interviewed so many female athletes who are professionals.
Reese Witherspoon spent months learning how to play baseball, and she does baseball for like 10 seconds in the movie.
There's a quote. I think the things that really stood out to me from the behind the scenes is at one point James Brooks says that he was just thinking about female athletes and wrote an opening scene with no story in mind and then fell in love with the character. And then at another point, him and Owen Wilson are talking about what he called surgical reshoots. And even in the deleted scenes, they're like taking chunks out from the middle of scenes. Like the first date sequence with Reese Witherspoon and Paul Rudd, there's like a whole chunk that just got cut out of the middle. And it's like, okay, so that's why it felt really weird and abrupt and why the timing is really off, because they edited the shit out of everything and reshot stuff. And like, apparently the Owen Wilson was supposed to just be in the opening. Like, it was supposed to be the cold open character, but then James Brooks liked him so much, he was like, oh, I'm going to write him into the entire movie. Like, things were being reworked the entire time, and you can feel it.
That makes sense, yeah. I will say, I don't think it's a bad decision to keep Owen Wilson around, because he's kind of my favorite part of this movie.
Owen Wilson is so good in this movie, and the relationship between him and Reese Witherspoon is so much more compelling to me than anything that goes on with Paul Rudd in this movie, to be honest.
It's really interesting casting for Owen Wilson to be playing like the dumb hot guy, but he nails it and does it with so much like earnestness. Like, I love the scene where he's calling her on the phone and he's like, I wrote this whole thing, and then he says, I went nuts when you left, I broke a lamp, and then it reveals that that's what he wrote on the note.
Yeah. And okay, maybe we should get into the plot, because I feel like Owen Wilson's like role, in order to discuss how good Owen Wilson is in this role, you kind of have to, like, people got to know where he is in the structure of this film.
Yeah. So, the story of this movie. Reese Witherspoon is a professional softball player who has just been cut for the team because she's, she's old for a professional athlete, and they're bringing in new blood. She is seeing this guy, Owen Wilson, who is a professional baseball player, and the whole thing is that like their relationship is, she doesn't have to talk about her feelings with him. They can watch baseball and talk about like good mechanics and things like that. And but also one of her friends has set her up with this guy, George, played by Paul Rudd. And the story with Paul Rudd's character is that he works for his father's company. His father is Jack Nicholson. I don't recall if we ever really learned what the company does.
It's something vaguely corporate. It's something about like importing and exporting.
But they are being sued by the SEC for securities fraud, and Paul Rudd is kind of set up to take the fall for it. So it's kind of this, it's a love triangle movie. It's one of many Reese Witherspoon love triangle movies. And she has to choose between this guy who's like really sweet and smart, and they're like, but and has all these problems going on, and is maybe going to prison and all this other stuff, or this guy who she knows is like dumb and kind of a dickhead, but she feels a certain comfort with him.
Paul Rudd and Reese Witherspoon don't actually interact a ton in this movie.
It's true.
It's kind of doing the thing where their connection is, inexplicable and more than words. Like when they go on their first date, she's just been cut from the team. Like literally that morning was cut from the team and had to like leave behind all of her like teammates trying to comfort her so she could go on this blind date. And Paul Rudd was like drunk and not slept at all the night before because he's maybe going to go to prison, and he just got fired. And they go on this date where they're both just sort of kind of out of it. And so Reese Witherspoon just goes, let's not talk. And then they sit in silence for the entire date. Yeah. And then at the end, Paul Rudd is in love with her. And it's sort of these sequences like that where they keep bumping into each other and having these like weird connections and sort of inexplicable, like, you know, because it's like, okay, so they're both attractive. They're both attracted to each other. They're both sort of in rough patches in their life so they can connect over that. But they don't talk a lot and aren't given very much basis for a relationship, which is part of why I found her relationship with Owen Wilson so much more compelling, because like they actually had stuff in common. Yeah. And they're given a lot more meat to work with and like build a relationship out of just in the script.
Yeah, I think that's really true. And I like the idea of like they can like sit in silence and not talk and you know build a relationship from that. I think that's a fun concept. There are a lot of little moments like that where it's like playing with tropes and then doing a little twist on them. There's a scene where she goes to a therapist played by Tony Shalhoub in a great cameo, and she's like, I don't need therapy. And then they talk a little bit and she's like, no, I'm going to leave. And then she comes back and she's like, do you have a piece of advice that just works for everyone, for everything? And he's like, actually, yes, I do. Figure out what you want and then figure out how to ask for it, which is great advice. And she says, those are both really hard to do. But they like twist it where it's like you think she's going to stay, you think she's going to go. In the end, she does go, but she's kind of appreciates the experience. There's a moment, there's a subplot with Catherine Hahn, who is Paul Rudd's assistant. She is pregnant, and there's a little fake out where you think for a second that Jack Nicholson is the father of the kid.
Yeah. That also, so in the behind the scenes, the whole thing with that is that Catherine Hahn was actually very pregnant during production, and then they had to shut down production for like a weekend because she was having her actual baby. And then I think at least some of the hospital scene is filmed with her holding her actual like newborn.
Wow.
Because they were like, well, you have to come in and finish filming this, and you just had a baby like 2 days ago. And that, what is the name of that actor who comes in and plays Al? The
guy.
It's the guy who did he was in Neighbors, that ABC sitcom about a bunch of people that move into a neighborhood that's just filled with aliens trying to live on Earth. That I loved. I miss that show. And I love him. Every time he shows up, I'm like, I love this guy. I need to rewatch Neighbors.
Lenny Veneto.
Yes. And he's really fun. And that hospital scene is fun in the sense that it's like contained and there's sort of stuff happening that's cute, and like I like him a lot. But the whole gag of that scene is that he proposes to Catherine Hahn, and then Paul Rudd didn't press record on the camcorder, and so they have to do it again.
I like that gag.
Yeah. It felt forced in its delivery, but I wouldn't consider it what James Brooks calls it, the funniest scene he's ever been a part of.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say it's the funniest scene in this movie. There are a couple scenes in this movie that I think are very funny. I think the funniest, the thing that got the biggest laugh for me is the scene where Paul Rudd walks into the men's room where the lawyer is like drying his hands, and he says, "They told me you'd be in here."
I thought Jack Nicholson does a pretty good job.
I think Jack Nicholson's funny. Owen Wilson's funny a lot in this. Like it you know, there's some good. Whenever those characters are on screen, I'm having a fun time.
Yeah, there's I love the bit where they're at the barbecue, and again, this like in the commentary track, Owen Wilson is sitting there talking with James L. Brooks about how he was given the direction that like this barbecue had to be really, really good or something. And I'm like, interesting. But they're at this barbecue, and Reese Witherspoon's like having like a bad time. You know, this is very much one of those rom-coms where it's like when everything goes wrong in your life, sometimes you find the real meaning.
Yeah.
It's very like shaking hands with admission in that way.
Yeah.
But he's sitting there and he's trying to be like, oh, you know, sorry. He has this line where he's like, sorry, I thought this party was going to be different because like usually at least one guy brings their wife, and then like that really changes the vibe. And Reese Witherspoon's like, I don't know if I want to stay here. And then Owen Wilson just goes, oh, well, you know, we can go eat with all the Christian players. They're in the game room, and that's a different scene. And then eventually he like gives in, and they like go, and he brings his plate of barbecue with him, and it has the umbrella over that. And it worked well for me both as like, okay, actually, here's how I'm going to put it.
Okay.
One of the reasons why I loved Owen Wilson's character in this is that it felt very accurate to the professional sports world of like I don't follow baseball, but I follow hockey. And there's this real thing in hockey of like, oh, they're the big famous player, and then like maybe they'll go and they'll hook up with some lady with some puck bunny or whatever, and then the press will try and spin it as this big deal, and the wife will just be like, yeah, okay, that's what he did. Right? He's a professional hockey player. This is our relationship. Like, get off me, you know? And this felt like a movie that, or I appreciated the way that Owen Wilson is treated as a empathetic character, despite the fact that he's not really fitting into what would normally be the like rom-com leading man of like,
he's not
being
fitting
super
into that
monogamous
idea of like faithfulness, you know?
Yeah, it's his version of faithfulness. Like there's a bit where she's like, "Are we monogamous?" And he's like, "Basically." Or there's the other baseball player, Owen Wilson's asking his buddies like, "How do you know you're in love?" And the one baseball player is like, "It's when you start wearing a condom with the other girls." And Owen Wilson's like, "Oh my God, I'm in love."
Yeah, that was a fun scene. There's another fake out near the beginning where like she gets really mad that he has like a closet full of clothes for the girls he has over, and she's like walking out, and then she comes back and I'm being like, and she's like, "I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm freaking out about that."
And then he goes, "If you're really apologizing, you must be my dream girl." Like there's a way that the two of them as professional athletes, because it's sort of saying the thing that at this point has been said many times by more brilliant ways about how like women athletes aren't given the respect or money that the male athletes get. Right. But you have these two professional athletes who are sort of meeting in the middle and both understand each other's lives and are just navigating like the intricacies of the differences because they already have so much in common that makes for a more interesting movie. Like there's a bit where whenever Reese Witherspoon gets mad at Owen Wilson throughout the movie, she usually ends up coming back and just being like, the thing I was getting mad at was that you weren't being the man I expect you or want you to be. You're just being yourself. And like, she ends up respecting him for that. Yeah. It's a much more interesting dynamic.
And there's the bit where Paul Rudd's like in the apartment and Owen Wilson is mad, but then he's like, "It's my place. like you could go do this where at like a hotel or something, but like don't bring him to my apartment."
Yeah. And meanwhile, Paul Rudd's just having this spiral with Catherine Hahn and Jack Nicholson about like his life falling apart. Paul Rudd's playing a much more dramatic role in this rom-com. Yeah. He's just genuinely, his life is falling apart.
Yeah, he's going to go to prison. And he's trying to figure out what, you know, and there are a lot of lines of like people being like, you know, I can't tell you what happened, or him being like, I think I already know what like there's all this like corporate espionage stuff that's always a little bit vague because we again don't really know what this company does.
No. And then Jack Nicholson, because Paul Rudd and Catherine Hahn both sort of figure out that like Jack Nicholson is actually the one that did the wrong thing, and it's just sort of been pinned on his son. And when Paul Rudd finally confronts him on it, Jack Nicholson has this like dramatic speech about how when you do business in the Middle East, this is just how you have to do it. Yeah. And the tone of this movie was very confusing to me because I was expecting a rom-com and I got something much more dramatic and or serious than that. It was still light and there were still some gags, but certainly compared to the other things we watched in this slate, I couldn't figure out what it wanted me to get out of it, really.
Yeah, definitely. Like that whole B plot is very heady.
Yeah.
and sort of not the kind of thing you'd expect to see given like the tone of the rest of the movie, which is like pretty light and fun. There's another gag I really like, and I generally like I like Reese's relationship with the other like baseball players.
Yeah.
And she like her best friend character is Tiana Paris, and she like does real like kind of yeoman's work, doesn't really have a lot to do, but she is fine. There's a great gag where Reese Witherspoon's setting up the date with Paul Rudd, and she hangs up the phone, and we cut to a wide, and the entire baseball team is in her apartment.
Yeah. And a lot of them were actual professional softball players. It was like the actual Olympic team that they got, because he just loves his authenticity. Mm-hmm. And this was a role that was written for Reese Witherspoon.
Yeah.
Like when he was writing it, he was like, I want Reese Witherspoon for this part. And in all the interviews, she's like, it was such an honor. And she does a good job.
Yeah.
There's something about the dialogue of this movie that feels sort of weirdly stilted, but I think that has to do with how much weird reshooting and editing there was. I think scenes were just being spliced together out of nowhere.
There are tone issues, and there are scenes that feel kind of awkward, and it feels like it's not always clear why characters are making the decisions they're making.
Yeah, they're just like doing stuff.
Yeah.
It's also a long ass movie.
It is pretty long.
It's longer than I would. Rom-coms should be a tight 90. If they want to go the more serious and like really dig into stuff, I'll give it a 2 hours. But this movie did not need to be 2 hours.
It's tough, and it definitely feels like you can pretty easily tell like where you could cut this and make it a pretty nice little movie. I think again, I think like the things that stick out to me more with time are the things that I really like about it. And I really like the Owen Wilson character. I think Jack Nicholson's very funny in it. I think, it's a good cast and kind of a fun story and a unique story, and I like the ways that it like plays on the tropes of rom-coms in that very James L. Brooks way. It's more on like the scene to scene, just like watching it basis that it falls apart.
It's the watching of the movie that
it's when you gotta watch it that things don't That's your problem right there.
Well, that's your problem.
Yeah. There's a bit where she's looking in her bathroom mirror, and it's covered in like inspirational quotes. And I wrote one of them down because it's, you got some swagger, better let them know. You got some swagger, better let it show.
Mm-hmm. And she spouts them at multiple points too.
Yeah.
She's like my mom always said.
Mm-hmm. It feels like the kind of thing that like a professional sports player would be into, I think it's kind of a good character thing, but it is funny. There's I note a bus gag here, but I don't remember what the bus gag is.
There's something where they're like waiting for the they're like, we'll just keep talking until the next bus comes. Like,
and then the next bus comes
immediately. And then they get like, there's like 3 buses that come in immediate succession, and Paul Rudd says something like, "What is this?"
That is how it goes sometimes. Sometimes the buses there's like 3 of them in a row.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't hate it. But it's not always a pleasure to sit through.
No, it's a movie that by the end I was really glad it was over. I really wanted this movie to end. By the last act there, I was like, "Come on, guys. Mm-hmm. How much more screen time do we have to deal with?" Yeah.
And it's one where like it's sort of undersung, you know, how much of a bomb it was, but like you can see where things fell apart. It's just very indulgent and very like, you know, we're gonna do everything that we want to do with this, but then also like changing it on the fly, and then, you know, all this convergence of factors.
Yeah, if you're gonna put that much money and excess into a movie, I want it to show that it is full of excess. Like, the excess can't just be we gave Jack Nicholson all the money he wanted. Like,
yeah, it
give
doesn't.
me visuals, give me costumes, give me something more.
It cost more money than Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
It does not look it.
No. It's like, if you're going to be an expensive movie, you got to give me some like Baz Luhrmann type. Something has to be cooking.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is time to draft.
It's time to draft.
I was struggling with coming up with draft ideas at first, but that's partly because I started with How Do You Know, which I was just like, this is such a bomb for me. And then slowly over the films, I reached a solid list that I'm excited about, because there are some fun elements and some really fun gems that shine throughout this stack of movies.
Yeah, I think there are a couple of you know, things to pull out of here. Definitely, I think all of these movies, even the ones that I really didn't like, have at least one thing that you know, I think is worth lauding.
Mm-hmm. I do have a backup from a movie from a previous episode as a backup, because I was like, I gotta have something. I need 5.
So
okay, how are we gonna pick?
Yes. Let's see. Has either of us been pretending to be gay?
I definitely went through a straight phase. But that was the phase. Was like,
sure.
I just needed to be a straight guy for like a couple months for my childhood fantasies to be realized before I was like, nah, I'm actually bi as hell.
I fuck T-boys. I'll take this one. I've been I actually am a ghost, and my unfinished business is making sure that you go first on this episode, and we sort of trade off from one episode to the next, basically.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So let's say you go first.
Okay. See, now, because this is where the strategicness comes in, which I really haven't been doing very much of, but there's some things that I feel like I know you're gonna try and get.
You gotta be quick with it.
I know. I'm gonna do breakout role Saoirse Ronan.
Yeah. Yeah, you got me there.
I was Googling everyone in these movies to try and figure out who was a breakout person. I was like, was this Reese Witherspoon's first? No. Was this Lake Bell's first? No. And the one I didn't look up was Saoirse Ronan.
Yeah, and this is a star-making role from Saoirse Ronan.
Oh yeah.
She did Atonement like a year after she did I Can Never Be Your Woman. It's like she really, you know, it was like Amy Heckerling got her right at the right moment.
Yeah.
So I need to think about what my biggest one here. I'm going to That was definitely gonna be my first, but I've got an idea here. I'm going to say best stunts, Overnight Delivery.
Interesting. The stunts were good enough that I noted them, which is something.
In a fucking, 90s rom-com.
Yeah. They pulled it off. Okay. Now there's a category here that I have 2 different pulls from, and I think they're both really good.
Wow.
But I'm gonna do best cameo Henry Winkler. I Could Never Be Your Woman.
Henry. Yeah, I was thinking about best cameo for a couple of things. I was thinking about best cameo for Tony Shalhoub.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's sort of the big one for me. Misha Collins is a great cameo. There's a couple good cameos in here. I'm just gonna say Over Her Dead Body for worst picture.
Okay. Yep.
I think like that is sort of, there were things I hated about a lot of these, but I think that's the one that is the most like front to back doesn't work.
No. I need to spread out my love here a little.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've pulled someone for this category from every single episode we've done so far. But
Yeah.
so at this point, I might as well just keep doing it. Best supporting actor, Owen Wilson. How do you know?
I was thinking supporting actor Owen Wilson might be my next one, but that's okay because
Okay.
I'm gonna say lead actress Parker Posey.
Okay. Yeah. It's one I had down. I really loved her in that movie.
She's really great in it.
Okay.
Hey.
Okay. I think I'm going to do best costumes overnight delivery.
Costumes for overnight delivery. Yeah. Yeah, there were some really good costumes in that. I thought you were about to say I Can Never Be Your Woman, because there are great costumes in that.
Those are the two that I had down for best costume.
And in fact, I'm going to say best costumes I Could Never Be Your Woman.
Valid. I think they both are doing really fun things with.
Yeah.
Both of them are ones in which just the general production design was really fun and really working for me.
Absolutely.
Okay, this is my last one.
This is your last
for
one
today. Okay. I'm going to do best on-screen couple, Danny DeVito and Parker Posey.
Okay.
Which is
I
maybe
like that.
maybe a
I like
bold
that.
move, but I feel it. It
They
saves
have really
the
good
movie.
Chemistry. Wow. They do have really good chemistry in that movie. I commend that choice.
Thank you. I wanted to really spread the love this time, even though I could have just gone like basically 5 from I Can Never Be Your Woman, because I enjoyed it immensely.
Yeah.
Even though it's like, I think I gave it like a 3 stars, maybe 3.5 stars. I don't remember.
Yeah. I'm just going to, since there's no risk of a snipe this episode, I'm going to just talk out loud about what I'm thinking about. Although next week we're going to start, trimming our.
I know.
So I should be careful, but I'm not going to. For the entertainment value. The two that I'm deciding between are supporting actor for Larry Drake in Overnight Delivery, because that is such a fun performance.
That's such a good pull, actually.
I think I'm going to be thinking about that performance like as we get towards the end of this season and we're starting to do the awards. My other thought is neither of us have picked anyone for Best Director yet, and
this is true.
Thinking about Amy Heckerling for Best Director.
These are both excellent choices.
But I think, let me look at, I'm going to do a little metagaming here, and I'm going to look at what movies we're looking at in the future. And if there's, I feel like our next episode could have some director picks, like maybe the Indie Oddities round could have, like I think director could make its way into here, and it's possible that we just, that director happens to not be be
I was
part
gonna
of the
say
here. I think maybe we just don't do director, and that's fine.
David Wayne wins for breakout director, and no one else is nominated for anything.
Yeah, but having had that conversation, I am going to say best supporting actor Larry Drake in Overnight Delivery.
That's such a good pull. That's a great choice. It's a category that is full to bursting already, but he's really good.
Yeah, I hope we have 15 nominees for supporting actor.
We're on our way. We're on our way.
Well on our way. So yeah, this run of movies, they are all crazy in their own special way.
Yep.
Our next month's episode is going to be an interesting one.
I had the tab open and then I closed it. Let me get this. Oh yeah,
I did
because
too.
So our next slate is the early years, aka
Yes.
pre 40-year-old virgin.
Yes, these are before Paul Rudd was a bankable name.
It's another 5-movie slate.
It's the last one for the season.
Yep. I've seen none of these. I don't even think I've maybe heard of one of them.
Yeah, I think I had not heard of any of these movies before we started planning this season.
One of the movies we'll be talking about is The Size of Watermelons.
Yes. Which I know very little about. Another one will be The Locusts.
And then 200 Cigarettes.
And then 2 Days.
Ooh. And then The Baxter.
The Baxter, I believe, is the Michael Showalter movie that we're looking at.
Yeah. I was going to say, that's the one that I think I've heard of.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I've seen this poster on Letterboxd.
Yeah, it'll be interesting after, having our David Wade episode and you saying that you were more of a Michael Showalter guy. It'll be interesting to kind of compare and contrast.
Yeah, I am excited. I've liked all of his movies that I've seen, and that's not to say that I might hate this, but
yeah,
statistically, Michael Showalter's been a hit for me.
Yeah, I think this next episode is going to be very interesting, and we'll see some movies we never would have seen otherwise, and probably a couple of them will be good.
Hopefully, at least one of them is good.
Hopefully, at least one of them is good. That's exactly how it is, and that's a great note to sign off on. If you've been listening, thank you so much. This is just the first couple episodes. We've gotten great feedback so far. Please, if you have any suggestions or questions or comments, what you think of these movies, let us know. And if you like the show, you can subscribe. You can get a paid subscription on Substack. There will be probably eventually some bonus content there. And yeah, just, share it with your friends. Let people know you like the show. That's one of the best things you can do.
I think they keep getting better. Like every episode feels like a step in the right direction.
I think so too. This one's a little longer than the last one, but that's okay.
I think at this point, length can't be something that we can't
fixate on length.
If people are sitting down to our podcast, they got to be ready to sit down for our podcast.
Next season, we can start maybe thinking about what would we do if hypothetically we were trying to fix the length.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Thank you guys so much for coming up. We've got we've got a guest or two coming up that we're excited about. There's going to be some fun stuff in the future. Okay, I'm stopping my recording.
Yeah.